Scorpion by Drake is here. The double album, an hour and a half, 90 minutes of Drake. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Drake, alright? I'm not the first to admit that. He's got a lot of haters out there. I wouldn't say I'm a hater, but I'm not a fan of the guy. He's got a lot of great songs over the years, a lot of songs that I still like to this day. They've held up well. But albums, I personally do not think he's got a single album that is worth the runtime that they are, because they're all at least an hour long, that they're worth the praise that they get. Even if you're reading this, it's too late. I mean, I'm sorry, music lovers, the music community love that album for some reason. I don't know why. But that's an album, I think, that still has all the issues that every other Drake album has, to be honest. I often find him to be pretty boring as a rapper, and when he sings he's pretty decent, but he hasn't even got the range that some of the greatest R&B singers have had. So, the guy is pretty overrated in my opinion. So I thought the fairest way to do this review was to just listen to disc 1 and then review it here, and then when I get round to listening to disc 2 a bunch of times, I'll record that. But for now, this is just going to be my thoughts on the disc 1, and then when we get to disc 2 it will be whenever, but it's all going to be on one video basically. I hope you like this idea, but I just don't want to sit through a 90-minute Drake album and know for a fact that I will be very negative on it, whereas taking it disc by disc, I think I will have a bit more of a fair view. So Scorpion disc 1, here we go. It's got all the problems that every Drake album has. Why? Look, I'm going to give you the positives, okay? Some of the beats are great, okay? Elevate, the beat on that track is great. You cannot deny the beat on that song is great. Would I say it's an absolute banger though? Well, no, it's not really got the pulsating beat that God's Plan has, which I would say could be considered a banger. But Elevate has a great beat. I really do like this beat. Nice little trap influence, and the snares and the hi-hats really work well together. But Drake doesn't really live up to that beat. He doesn't really rap on the beat in a way that makes me kind of interested in the whole song, to be honest. I like the beat on Non-Stop too. AR10, these have got good beats. Some nice samples working in AR10 as well. I think it actually has a pretty nice chorus and refrain. It's one of the better tracks, I must admit. And Mob Ties, what a great song. The beat on this one, easily the best on this first disc. Gotta love that track, man. It's got the upbeat tempo that we need from Drake, because when he gives us that, he can often give us some really good songs. But as good as a lot of these beats are, Drake just doesn't really often give us much over the beats. Like, he just doesn't have the hype delivery that we need. Like, just think of someone like a Denzel Curry. I mean, come on, man, this guy puts out banger after banger after banger, and he can live up to those bangers with his delivery, with his flows. Drake just sounds bored most of the time, and it kills the beats. Like, it makes the beats sound worse because you're kind of just ready for it to be over, because you don't listen to Drake and think, oh, he's saying so many good things here. No, you don't. You just don't. Take the track Survival, the opening track to this double album, you think would be some sort of grandiose statement. No, really not. Really dull, honestly. One of the most dull songs here. Not the most dull song, though, we'll get to that, Jesus Christ. But what's he rapping about here? He's just rambling on and on and on and on and on with his monotonous delivery. Oh, what is he saying that's so noteworthy on this track? I just can't find anything to pull out of this one. Like, seriously, man. And his like, that's what he does with his raps all the time. Like, he'll say a line, pause, say a line, pause, say a line, pause, in the most just boring way. His song Emotionless, where he's just rambling on about girls going to Rome and taking pictures, and like how he thinks that they're actually really lonely and stuff like that. It's just, oh, Drake, shut up. And the now very famous line, I wasn't hiding my kid from the world, I was hiding the world from my kid. Deep. I feel like so many of his tracks are just structureless. Like, he will ramble on about one thing and then, you know, go on to something completely different in a way that's supposed to link them in some kind of really clever way, but it never works. Like, he sort of leaves some of his lines there as if like he's just dropped the mic and like boom, but there's no impact to anything he ever says. He's like the Mark Koslick of rap music. Like, he doesn't know how to stay on one fucking topic. And at least with the Mark Koslick, you get something emotionally potent out of it or a good story, whereas Drake just doesn't know how to keep you interested for like more than 10 seconds. Even though I praise some of the beats on here, like, so many of these beats are just dead as well, like Sandra's Rose. Like, I don't even remember what that track sounds like. And then we got Talk Up with Jay-Z, really just nothingness of a track. Jay-Z's feature does absolutely nothing at all. There's a very odd relationship between those two. Like, Jay-Z will often just collaborate with Drake out of nowhere, and it's just like, why? What was this for? I don't get it. And I'm upset. My God, one of the most boring songs I think we've ever heard from Drake, and that's saying something. Because Views, did you listen to Views? Oof. Jeez, yeah, that was a journey to get through. Jesus. And what's funny about this first disc is that one of the better tracks is God's Plan, and God's Plan's been out for so long now, and I've heard it too much, and I don't want to listen to it. Of course, it's literally only here for the bragging rights of it being a platinum album, which we all know is bollocks because it can't possibly be platinum when it's basing it off of how successful the singles have been, so it's not really a platinum album. But yeah, man, Drake just hits so many cliches with his lyrics. He's just going for the so relatable type stuff that he knows his crowd likes, or it's just that he has nothing interesting to say. I can't really tell which one it is. I'm in control of my own destiny, never in doubt. If I can't make it with you, I'll make it without. But yeah, like I said, I mean, some of the beats here are really quite good, you know? Like, some of these beats are solid, but that's because No ID is a great producer, you know? We get that from No ID. I would expect nothing less. But Drake over these beats, I just think he really he needs to know how to structure a song well. He needs to know how to word his rhymes in a way that sounds interesting. He needs to switch up his delivery as well. His very just dull and redundant delivery is just enough for me to not enjoy any of these beats because of how uninteresting he is. So yeah, for this first disc of Scorpion, gonna go 4.5. Not enough here that I can truly say I really like. There's like maybe one or two out of 12 songs that I like, so that's not enough to call this good. So yeah, 4.5 out of 10. Anyway, I'm going to transition onto the next part because I haven't heard this too yet, but future me will have heard it, so... Oh God, this is even worse. I did not realise Side B, Disc 2, would be shit. Shitter than shit. Oh Jesus Christ. These tracks are lifeless. There is nothing to them. There is no pulse. There is no interesting lyricism. There is no interesting singing. The singing is beyond comprehending. Like, oh my God, Drake sounds like he isn't even interested in doing this album on these tracks. Like, I cannot believe it. And don't come at me with, it's vibey, it's there to set a tone and atmosphere. No, that is not true. That is not what is happening here. There is no vibe whatsoever. It is vibeless. You cannot possibly tell me that these tracks are smooth and sexy and atmospheric, because they're not. That is an excuse to just defend Drake. This is not how R&B is done. You cannot ever convinced me that this is what R&B should sound like. And I know I'm ranting and being a bit annoying here, but I've got to be passionate about this because there is so much good R&B out there, and this Drake album's gonna like do so many numbers in the first like 5 days probably, and just completely take over the year in terms of music. It'll bomb the charts, and it's not even worth anyone's time. I could go on and on and on and tell you all the R&B artists that are so much more better than this, so much more compelling than Drake's moaning across these dead beats created by someone that doesn't know how to make a beat. Like, what are these tracks? Jesus Christ, we've got Kali Uchis, who dropped a great album this year. We have Raven Lenae. We have Janelle Monáe. We have Daniel Caesar. We have Anderson .Paak. We don't need Drake anymore when we've got Anderson .Paak blending R&B, soul, and rap all together, just like Drake's been doing all these years. He does it so much better than Drake's ever done it. We've got Frank Ocean, D'Angelo, FKA Twigs, Erykah Badu. The list goes on. It is an endless list. I could probably do a video just telling you all the R&B artists that are worth listening to more than Drake. Like, it just, ugh. And then at randomly, track 4 as well, we get Nice for What, which is the best song across both albums, by the way. Probably one of the best Drake songs we've ever had. Which actually doesn't fit on the album whatsoever. We can't have those 3 tracks and you throw in Nice for What. It's not even in the same category. It doesn't even fit the vibe or the tone or anything. It's just like, what? Which further proves that Drake has just done this to call this a platinum selling album because the song is a platinum selling song, which is bullshit. I've already said this earlier in the video, but it still rings true. It's just a way to call your album a big selling album when it's really built on a lie. Then you get the Drake fans as well, the Drake friggin' fans that'll come through and defend this and call it pioneering, and Drake's doing stuff that no one else out here is doing. Well, why does this sound just like Party Next Door then? Like, why does this side of the album just sound like what Party Next Door's done time and time again? And Party Next Door's not even that great of an artist anyway. He's another overrated artist that's doing numbers but doesn't really add anything to the genre. Not only that, but this just basically sounds like what we've had from The Weeknd 7 years ago in the Trilogy mixtape series. Like, this is that with less character, you know? It's soul without soul, and that is the worst thing. When you suck out soul out of soul music, it just, it just might, I have no words. Ratchet Happy Birthday. I mean, I don't even have to explain why this song is bad, because you just heard the title of the song. I don't even need to go into detail here. Holy, just the lyrics are so basic. Like, this guy is called The GOAT and he can't even string an interesting song topic together. And then you've got the entire album focusing around women and how trashy so many of these lyrics are. Like, I cannot even begin to describe how Drake just sounds like a manipulative fuckboy throughout this whole thing. I just do not buy that this 30-odd-year-old man is so emotional and so hard done to by women all the time that he has to sing about it. I don't buy it, man. I think he's the one that's forcing these women to feel the way they do, and then he plays the victim. That's how I see Drake. And the funny thing is that a lot of people will always put forward the argument that, well, hip-hop's misogynistic. Hip-hop, you know, uses women and treats them as objects. And the thing is, there is a lot of hip-hop that does that, and I don't often defend hip-hop that does that either. But take this as sort of like my theory here. Like, a lot of rappers will do that kind of thing as a bragging type way, you know, it's all sort of a character, you know, acting like they get all the women. My door just fucking opened on its own, that really shit me up. But anyway, they get all the women and they've got big dicks, and, you know, they get all the pussy. And yeah, it's so chauvinistic and so over the top that often it seems quite cartoonish, and they're probably just saying it for the sake of it. It's not really them believing what they're saying, they're just doing it to put forward this image Whereas on the other hand, you've got Drake, who just seems misogynistic. Like the way he's so manipulative in his relationships, and how he touches into women's feelings and acts like he can save them in some kind of way and change them into the women that they should be just to please Drake. That to me is way worse. I feel like the way he talks about women is way worse than anything you'll find in most rap. Because that's exactly the person he portrays. That's exactly what he does throughout all of his songs. He talks about women as if they don't know what they're doing, but he knows better for them. And it's just so annoying. And it really reminds me of how, like, on the film Battle of the Sexes, which is a pretty good film actually, with Emma Stone and Steve Carell. And Steve Carell is this like really over the top sexist character that just wants women to be in the kitchen and all that kind of stuff, and they can't play sport as well as men, but it's all kind of a character just for the cameras, and he's not actually really like that. But then behind the scenes, the person in charge of the tennis like industry is an actual sexist, and Emma Stone's character Billie Jean King like realizes that's what he is. She can see through him and see that he's actually the one that's so sexist, and that's Drake. Drake is that person to me. He plays the nice guy, but there's actually deeper layers to peel away and realize that he actually doesn't treat women the way he acts like he does. The thing is though, is that there are a few decent tracks towards the end. It doesn't all stay in the sleepy territory for the whole thing, luckily. I quite like the track After Dark. I feel like it has a bit more of a melody than the rest of the songs. There's actually more to it than the usual Drake R&B that we get. But that's just not enough. I mean, that's about it. We get a random Michael Jackson sample, which just feels in there for the sake of name dropping Michael Jackson, I think. I don't know, I just feel like Drake's trying to get credibility there, like, oh yeah, I get Michael Jackson on my album because, you know, I'm one of the greats and Michael Jackson was one of the greats. Ugh. Look, at the end of the day, this is gonna do numbers. I'm probably in the minority because so many people love the man, and Scorpion's gonna absolutely, you know, sell loads of copies and loads of people will praise it and the fans will eat it up. But I just can't imagine how a man with this popularity releasing music this bad is gonna hold up in the future. Like, are we gonna look back on Drake and think of him as one of the greats after albums like this? I just don't see it. Drake has been praised over the years for blending R&B and hip hop together like not many artists have done before him, and as time's gone on, we've come to realize that Drake actually isn't that good at doing R&B or hip hop at all. He occasionally gets it right and drops a great track and hits the charts and takes over the charts for a while, occasionally with a great song, but most of the time when we actually get into the album mode of Drake, we can see that he cannot do a good album. Drake can get the hype and get the hits, but he cannot put an album together for the life of him. And this was a slog to get through. This was not good. I'm going to go 3 out of 10 with the side B or disc 2 of Scorpion. This was bad. This was worse than side A and disc 1. And yeah, I hope you like this review, because I did not like this album, so let me know your thoughts on this album. Subscribe if you enjoyed this. If you're a Drake fan, tell me why I'm wrong, because you're probably going to do that. And if you agree with me, tell me why. And yeah, hope you have a good day.